Shastra. So then I just requested that we have some sessions through this Zoom platform, and Prabhuji kindly accepted. So and now things expanded so far that we have this little group of ours, and we will be starting with our studies of Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is given by Srila Prabhupada himself. So Prabhuji, please, stage is yours.
Hare Krishna, Vanchakalpatarvisa Kripasindhubhaya Chapatanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, thank you very much for providing this opportunity to share Shastra Gyan to everyone. And if it helps you in Krishna consciousness, uh, please pray for me. It's a very difficult journey in this current world. So this is a good opportunity to purify ourselves. Hare Krishna. With this note, I am just starting the Bhagavad Gita discussion. Um, it's a huge, Bhagavad Gita is huge subject matter. As we go forward, our realization improves, and every time we read Bhagavad Gita, we get new realizations. So, are you able to see my screen, everyone?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, it is there. Yes,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
So, so the content of Bhagavad Gita, if you see, there are many things we can speak about, but what is the principal thing that is spoken? That is one important thing. And who speaks principally within Bhagavad Gita? If we see that, there are totally 700 slokas in the entire Bhagavad Gita, spanning over 18 chapters. When Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, there were no chapters actually. It was extempore speech, extempore questions, and pertinent questions asked by Arjuna, and Krishna answers it. So, principally, there are 700 slokas, and this 700 slokas we can group into categories. One category is who is speaking those verses. So, of 700 verses, 575 verses are spoken by Krishna, and then there are 83 verses which is spoken by Arjuna. So, Arjuna is speaking majorly in chapter 1, where he is getting perturbed by looking at the army, and then that becomes the start of questions. First, he gets looks at the situation, describes it, gives his own views on the problem and the solution, and then he surrenders to Krishna in the second chapter, and then Bhagavad Gita evolves. Then, if you see, there are two more characters who start this Bhagavad Gita discussion. One is Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, he speaks only once, and that is one of the important shlokas. It is referred in by Prabhupada as one of in many lectures, and it is one of the shlokas which is worth memorizing. So yeah, so that is the Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. In today's class, I think we should be discussing on that particular shloka deeper. Then there is Sanjaya who is answering all the questions, or Sanjaya is the medium uh, where Dhritarashtra comes to know what is happening in the battlefield. So Dhritarashtra also hears Bhagavad Gita then. So there are three people who are listening to Bhagavad Gita when Krishna is speaking these 575 verses, which is Dhritarashtra, Sanjaya, and Arjuna. Arjuna is having a live chat, whereas other two people are spectators. But the rest of them, they do not know what is happening between Arjuna and Krishna. So they know something is happening, but it's spiritual, and they are not able to see what is the real dialogue. And there are a few other important things that we need to know here. It is the names. Arjuna is given multiple names throughout the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna uses Arjuna as Kaunteya, as Dhananjaya, then Kuru Putra, like that. He is giving multiple names. So why this is used is based on the context. So when we are looking at those verses, we will look at the insight on the names which Arjuna is using for Krishna or Krishna is using for Arjuna. So this is something which we will see. So Arjuna is referred in 20 different ways throughout. It's a count. There must be there could be some mistake, but I think to my knowledge it is correct. But if it is different, I think I may change as we go forward in our presentation. Then Krishna is referred in 33 different names within this. We know in Bhagavad Gita, in Mahabharata, there are two jewels within Mahabharata. One is Bhagavad Gita, other one is Vishnu Sahasranama. So Vishnu Sahasranama is talking about 1,000 names of Lord Krishna, and Bhagavad Gita is talking about 33 names of Krishna. So we will also have a look at it, get an insight of why these 33 names are used. Then in India we have a shloka which is recited before every chapter. This is done all by both Sampradaya. When I say Smarta Sampradaya, Shankara Sampradaya, and also Vaishnava Sampradaya. So you can see here, Om Tat Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama Pratamodhyayaha. Om Tat Sat iti. This is Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishad. It's a Upanishad. It is a Brahma Vidya. It is talking about spiritual knowledge about Brahman, and it is a Yoga Shastra. Now, today in our discussion, we will understand why it is Yoga Shastra. Then it is Krishna Arjuna Samvada. It is a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. And then it says Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama. So if we this chapter 12, it is called as Bhakti Yoga. If it is chapter 3, it is called as Karma Yoga. Nama. Nama means name. Pratamodhyaya. This is the name of the chapter. So this is usually recited at the beginning of the chapter as well as at the end of the chapter, just to tell that this was a subject we discussed, or this is the subject which we are going to discuss in this particular set of verses. That is what, or this were the major discussions that we were having in last few slokas. That is what it means. So why it is called as Yoga Shastra? Okay. So it is Yoga Shastra because if you see, there are three synonyms here: yoga, yogi, yukta. This is used throughout the Bhagavad Gita almost 155 times. So, yoga is the principle of linking a soul with super soul. So, that is yoga. Yogi, a person who is doing this act of connecting himself to the supreme, is yogi. And yukta is the entire endeavor requires some discipline, and that is also in context with yoga. So yoga comes 78 times, yogi comes 28 times, and yukta comes 49 times. So it is in total 20% of the verses in Bhagavad Gita constitute yoga. So it is Yoga Shastra. So this is very important for us to understand. This statistics, these are just numbers, but the principal thing is we will know at a higher level how the Bhagavad Gita is placed. So I think This was an introduction. We have close to 60 minutes. In that 60 minutes, I will try to focus on the shloka for 45 minutes, and then we will have 15 minutes for our question and answer, or anything that we need to discuss in next class. So this is how we will be placed. So I request all of you to keep up the time. There are two things which Prabhupada always emphasizes in a devotional service. One is timeliness, other one is cleanliness. If we are progressing in devotional service, we will ensure that we attend whatever class or whatever our devotional engagement is there on time. That is the first yukta we need to follow. So it could be Mangalarti. So we can also see this in Shatagoshwami Ashtaka. So Nama Gana, they used to follow that every time. They used to follow the counting as well as the time. If you reach, I'm not able to recollect the exact shloka, but next class we should see this, because Vaishnavas, they followed timeliness, and second thing is cleanliness. So these are two important things. So for class, we need to ensure that we are on time. It's an important subject in our life. We need to show that the subject may be intimidating, so the subject may be very difficult to understand, but the first step that we are showing to Krishna that I am interested in learning this subject is by ensuring that we are on time. So this is very, very important for us. Okay, you have to also understand that when I'm telling this to you, it is also self-imposement. So it's also applicable to me. Preaching is it starts with me first, always. So it's with me also. Okay, with that note, let us go into the subject, which is the chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. So, Bhagavad Gita, I actually want to split every chapter subject wise, and this subject wise is already given by Acharyas. So, it's very easy for us to fit into that. And then so if you see on the left hand side, I have grouped the shlokas, and interestingly, I could find some references in Chaitanya Charitamrita. We need to dwell on it. And then on the right hand side, I have given a general flow of thought. This is the flow of thought in that particular shloka. And then, so I have given here. Um, and there are some important questions to understand. So that is also I have put it here in my in this slide. So principally, I will be shuttling between this slide and this site. So if you see here, you can always go where the online database. So you have Bhagavad Gita, and you have all the chapters here, 18 chapters, and then we have chapter 1. So this is the front page of the chapter, and then we have, if we click into the text, we will have the text as well as the purport. So my idea is that there are 700 slokas, and I intend to have 100 hours of time to be spent on this, and that means in a class we should cover close to 7 slokas. So in some of the chapters, it would be 11 slokas. Say for example, today I wanted to cover Today I wanted to cover close to 12 shlokas, or maybe if possible 13 shlokas. But when the subject becomes much more deeper, then it would be probably 6 shlokas or 5 shlokas. But on an average, I like to cover 7 shlokas. So that will help us to pace the entire course, entire study in a very systematic way. Okay, so going back to the subject of chapter 1. So in the chapter 1, they are close to 46 slokas, 46 sloka, and it is grouped into two major categories. Acharyas call it as observing Sainya Nidikshana Yoga. That is the first 26 slokas, and then Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So there are these two are the names generally given. Some acharyas give predominance to observing the armies. Say, for example, Prabhupada has given the title as observing the armies, whereas some of the acharyas are called Arjuna Vishadyo. Arjuna is lamenting right now. So that is the second part. So some acharyas are given predominance to one particular subject. So there could be different names for the same subject. So it is immaterial for us as long as we understand the subject and progress. Whether we are able to understand or not, we should appreciate the entire setup, how it is going on, and then we gradually understand it. Okay, now in observing the armies, there are three parts. So the first part is the preparation of the war. So what happens here is principally Dhritarashtra is asking question to Sanjaya, and Dhritarashtra is blind. So Vyasadev comes to him one time uh, before the war starts, and he says that you are blind, but you are going to be part of a major historical event, which is the war between Kauravas and Pandavas. Do you want to have sight? He said, no, I don't want sight. But on the other hand, you provide that function to Sanjaya so that he can help. I don't want to see my sons getting killed. So this one, a brief note of this, Prabhupada also brings it in the purport for the first shloka. And then after Dhritarashtra is asking question, Sanjaya answers that, and Sanjaya is answering it um, as if he is speaking for Duryodhana. So actually, the sloka from 2 to 13 is spoken by Duryodhana, and Sanjaya is reiterating it to Dhritarashtra. So Duryodhana is not speaking within Bhagavad Gita actually. So Duryodhana is first talking to his spiritual master, which is Dronacharya, and then we cannot call him as a spiritual master. Is his who has taught him the education of warfare, how to handle politics, and so on. So the Dronacharya is giving him the education. So he approaches Dronacharya and he explains, or he shows his anger, uh, the way Dronacharya has trained Drishtadyumna, who is the commander of the army of Pandavas. This Drishtadyumna was born to kill Dronacharya. So there is a small war between, or a small animosity between Dronacharya and Panchal Naresh Drupada. And in childhood days, they were in the same Gurukul. So when they are children, Drona and Drupada were children in attending the same Gurukul. So Dronacharya happened to no, they were very close to one another, and during childhood days, we are usually very emotional, and we do not know the pros and cons of what we tell. So Drupada once told that whatever I have, you will get half of it. So Dronacharya and Drupada finish their education, and then they go to their own profession. But Dronacharya is a Brahmana by profession, and he's in poverty. He has his son Ashwatthama. He finds it very difficult to get even milk. So then Dronacharya's wife Kripi is asking Dronacharya to make something so that there are no problems in feeding the child. So Dronacharya approaches Drupada and reminds him of the promise. But Drupada rejects it, saying that friendship could be only between equals. It could not be between a rich, a poverty-rich Brahmana and a king. So this is in contrast to what Krishna and Kushela, the dealings of Krishna and Kushela, who is approaching Krishna and gives him a palmful or 3 palmful of chipped rice. So that is a contrast between that dealing with Krishna and here dealing between Drona and Drupada. Drupada says, "I can give you some donation, but I cannot give you kingdom. It's not possible." So then Dronacharya comes to Astinapura. He trains Pandavas and the Kauravas. Kauravas were the first to attack Panchal, Drupada, but they get defeated badly. Then it is the 5 Pandavas go and conquer, and and they give this as Guru Dakshina to Dronacharya. So that time, Drupada decides to revenge Drona. So he goes and he conducts, he takes support of Brahmanas and does a yagna in which two things happen. Actually, it is very wonderful how human mind works. Drupada is impressed with Arjuna, though Arjuna is key person who defeated him in this war. He likes Arjuna and he says that I want a daughter who can be wife of Arjuna. So Panchali comes, Draupadi comes, and then Drushtadhyum comes, who is to kill Dronacharya. So it's very interesting how human mind works. So the same yagna is helping in two relationship. One is fighting relationship, and another one is friendship. So, this Drishtadhyumna is the bone of contention for this entire discussion, which Duryodhana is talking here in this shlokas here. So, now what happens is Drishtadhyumna is setting up this army, and Drupada, he knows that the best teacher available at that time. I'm just going back in the flashback. So Drupada knows the best teacher available is Dronacharya. And here you need to know the broad mentality of Brahmana. Dronacharya also knows that Drishtadhyumna is born to kill Drona. So he could have simply rejected. But his mindset is completely different. He thinks they have come to me for education, and as a Brahmana, I have to give them education. So I will give them education. This is quite contrast to what Dronacharya did with Ekalavya and Karna. Ekalavya was from a Nishada group. There is a very good explanation given by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati in his talks on Ashwatthama and Ekalavya. Sorry, not Ashwatthama, Ekalavya and Karna. Why Dronacharya did not give that. So, Ekalavya's case, since we are talking about Drona, it is important that we understand this. This is very prevalent in India that Karna and Ekalavya are quoted as somebody who are affected by Dronacharya's ill feeling against them. So, one point which is told is that Karna is. Is not given education. Actually, Dronacharya's Gurukul was like Ivy League or IITs of India, Ivy League in US or IIT in India. And one of the criteria he has kept was the birth. Now, is Varnashram system based on birth? No, it is not based on birth. It is based on activities and our intentions. But principally, there is a principle available that a child born in a Brahmana family gets a uh, good fundamentals or good environment for him to become a Brahmana. A person born in a princely family gets a good chance to become a Kshatriya. So, Dronacharya kept that as a criteria. So he could see from Karna that he is not from a Kshatriya family. So he rejects. Same thing he sees with Ekalavya. Ekalavya is a Nishada tribe and he was part of Jarasandha, who were inimical to both Kurus as well as with Yadavas. So he rejects them on that grounds, and he was thinking that they are not going to help us in ensuring the proper administration of the dynasty or the country which Kurus were maintaining or Yadavas were maintaining. So he rejects, and if it was Ekalavya was really a guru, disciple, he should have told Drona, as soon as Drona told Ekalavya that you are not fit for this heart, he should have stopped. So in Ekalavya's context, we see selective guru upachar or guru obedience. Guru said, "Don't do this," so he should have not done the learning the art of war. But instead of doing that, he learned, and so Dronacharya is taking the thumb of Ekalavya as a Guru Dakshina because of his ill intention, not because he became a good archer. First, second, Dronacharya was very broad-minded, and Ekalavya's case is not to be used as the reference. We have to use the reference of Drishtadyumna. Drishtadyumna was born to kill Drona. It is from the yagna. Yagna was, I think, this yagna was done for Lord Shiva, and they come as a boon of Lord Shiva, Panchali as well as and Drishtadyumna. So he knows that. So there is more authenticity to this data. Therefore, we see the broad-mindedness of Dronacharya from the way he handled Drishtadyumna. Drishtadyumna was a Kshatriya. He had all intentions of becoming a very good leader, but he may kill. That's okay. That is the situation. But as a spiritual master, as a Brahmana, he has to teach him the art. If somebody comes and asks him for learning, if he is qualified, he must get that. He should fulfill that. So that is how we should see Dronacharya's broad-mindedness, not in the way he dealt with Ekalavya or Karna. They were not fit for this art. Yeah, so I think that one is very important for us to understand. So now we will go to the next stage. So we will see that um, uh, Karna, Duryodhana is talking about his army. So we could see In Duryodhana's mind, he still has Karna. Actually, during this description of the army, Karna is not in the battlefield. There is a rift which happens between Bhishma and Karna says that I am not going to be in the army as long as Bhishma is the commander in chief. So, um, so he leaves the battle. He says that he is not going to join. But on the other hand, Duryodhana manages it very well because he wants to ensure that Bhishma can always take go to Pandavas. Duryodhana always had that doubt. But with Karna, he never had that doubt. He knows Karna is his best friend. He will never give up his friendship. So he did not support Karna when Karna left the assembly and said that he's not going to be part of the battle till Bhishma is active as a commander in chief. So here we see the diplomacy of Duryodhana. So actually, Prabhupada also tells in the purport how Duryodhana is trying to motivate the his army, his generals, by giving different perspective of the army. so So here we can see that there is one specific description in shloka number 10. There is something called as aparyaptam and paryaptam. We need to see this. This is very interesting. Acharyas are given different comments about this. Yeah, and then so here we can see Duryodhana is glorifying each one of his opposite army as well as the his own army. So this is the summary of what we will be seeing now. Now let us get into the actual shloka. Let us get into shloka number 1. I think we have close to 6 minutes now. Let's get into the first shloka. So here it's called as Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yodsavaha Mamakaha Pandavascheva Kim Akurvat Sanjayaha. So Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? So Prabhupada is giving a gist of what is Bhagavad Gita as an introduction to Bhagavad Gita. And I think I request each one of you to go through the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. It's very, very interesting. And in introduction to Bhagavad Gita, there is a shloka, set of shlokas, Gita Mahatmya. This is written by Shankara. So we could see Prabhupada has used the Shankara's shlokas to glorify Bhagavad Gita. And I think each one of you should read it. If we get chance to at some point in our course of this discussion, probably we'll touch upon it. But I request you to please go through that. So here there is one interesting thing. Scrutinizingly, we should read Bhagavad Gita scrutinizingly. So that means we need to understand every aspect of it. So if you see in our previous discussion, we were talking about 575 slokas of Krishna and 125 slokas of the rest of the people. So is it good to read the slokas of the other people? Yes, because there is very good shloka available. Ek aksharam pumsam mahapataka nashanam. Every word given in Mahabharata, Ramayana, Puranas are mahapataka nashanam. So why they are mahapataka nashanam? Because these are required to make the main meal very tasty. So for us to enjoy a curd rice, we need pickle. Without pickle, we will not be able to appreciate curd rice. If we need to appreciate chapati, we need dal. Dal is a side dish, but it's not the main dish. So same way, 575 shlokas are the main dish, but it brings more, it enriches, it gets enriched when we get this 125 shlokas. Why Arjuna is asking this question? That brings more importance to what Krishna is telling. So then it becomes much more relishable. So that is how this is scrutinizingly reading Bhagavad Gita. And as we progress, we'll see how we can scrutinize it very well. Okay, so now we need to read it very scrutinizingly, and we need to read it with the help of a devotee of Krishna. So here we are taking help of Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada bases his commentaries on commentaries of Baldev Vidyabhushan. So the entire parampara is available for us when we read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is. So this is a very, very important point. And we need to understand it without personally motivated interpretation. So this is also very, very important. What is that we want to know from Bhagavad Gita? We need to understand what Arjuna wants to understand. So Prabhupada here gives the example of clear understanding is there in Bhagavad Gita itself. It is the way Arjuna is understanding it. And interestingly, if you go to this Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 6th chapter, it's a very interesting chapter. It is based at Puri. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, it's a dialogue between Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is a Mayavadi, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the propounder of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, is a Vaishnava. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is forced to hear Mayavada commentaries of Vedanta Sutra from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. But he is not convinced. He's not, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is not able to convince Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya did not agree that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he explains Vedanta Sutra multiple times, but he does not understand. Then at some point of time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya realizes, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then he becomes Vaishnava. So in that context, you can see here, Pramanera Madhya Shruti Pramana Pradana, Shrutiye Mukyartha Kaye Sehe Pramana. Although there is other evidence, the evidence given in Vedic version must be taken as the foremost. Vedic version should be understood directly as the first class or the understood directly are first class evidence. So we need to understand them as first class evidence. So here you can read through this, but here you can see in Bhagavad Gita at the very beginning it is stated Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsava Mamakaha Pandavascheva Kim Akurvat Sanjayaha. The statements of Bhagavad Gita are themselves proof that there is a place of pilgrimage called Kurukshetra where Pandavas and Kurus met to fight. After meeting there, what did they do? That was Dhritarashtra's inquiry to Sanjaya. Although these statements are very clear, atheists try to interpret different meanings of the word Dharmashetra and Kurukshetra. Therefore, Sri Jiva Goswami has warned us not to depend on any kind of interpretation. It is better to take the verses as they are without interpretation. So, Prabhupada, in his own way of explaining, he says that we need to understand as Arjuna understood the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, I think with this note, I should stop. Is there any questions? Are there any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Well, thank you very much. Well, a couple of things I would like to ask here, if I may. First of all, as well, I found it very enlightening to have such insightful information on the Mahabharata, and maybe you could refer to some some version or an edition of English Mahabharata. I know that there is this one available given by Krishna Dharma Prabhu, isn't it? But also, as I've heard from some devotees, that is not so much appreciated. So, can you please give some comment if one wishes to do some study over the Mahabharata itself? What would be a proper reference?
Okay. Prabhu, I think our major idea is to understand um, science of self-realization. So for that, there are only two things. So there is a Tarko Pratishtam Sutayo Vibhinnam. There is a very good shloka in Mahabharata. So Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Goyam Mahajano Ena Gatoso Pantaha. So this is given by Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira is asking, or Yudhishthira is asked by his father in the form of a bird, where is Dharma? What is Dharma? So Yudhishthira is telling not where the what is Dharma, but he tells where is Dharma, where you could find. So Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guyana Mahajana Ena Gatosa Panta. It is available in the heart of Mahajana. So, according to us, there is Kumaro Kapilo Manu. There is a very good shloka of Mahajana. Kumaro Kapilo Manu Vayasaki Vayam, and also Yamadharajanaja also tells about himself. So, for us, who is Mahajana? For us, Mahajana is Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada has given his books for us to read. So, we must first focus on reading those books. Mahabharata is a text which gives us interesting interpretations of different intricacies of human life. But that is not important. For us, most important is Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vaja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayasyani Masuchaha. So this is the prime focus for us, and how this entire journey goes there, that will be our focus. I touched upon Mahabharata because it is important. We need to understand the context here, but in my classes going forward, it would be more on Bhagavad Gita and references from Chaitanya Charitamrita or Srimad Bhagavatam or from Prabhupada's lectures. So we should follow Prabhupada. That is what I fundamentally think. As we go, we may get some realization. Maybe we can look into others' book, but till then, I think we should just stick to Prabhupada's books. Books are basis. So Prabhupada's books are basis for us.
Hare Krishna. Well, that's a very satisfying answer, actually. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Well, another thing I would like to ask here before giving room for others also to ask their questions, as in the very beginning, you were mentioning about the 2 points, timeliness and cleanliness. And well, it's quite obvious that what is meant by timeliness here in this connection. But what would be your emphasis? How should we understand cleanliness so that we can take the best benefit of taking this course
Yeah.
on the Bhagavad Gita?
On Bhagavad Gita, it's actually cleanliness is there directly on our four regulative principles. No meat
Yes.
eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication. No intoxication is directly relating to our cleanliness. If we give up eating coffee, drinking coffee, tea, chocolate, marijuana, or whatever is intoxicant, alcohol, uh, then it is internal cleanliness. Of course, external cleanliness is as soon as you get up, take a good bath. Actually, I was reading Prabhupada's one of the commentaries today. I forgot. Actually, Prabhupada says India is such a hot country. By nature, you can easily take bath 3 times a day and put nice tilak, take Vaishnava dress. That shows that you are very clean. So, so this is proof of cleanliness. Of course, follow four regulative principles. You are clean mentally also, internally also.
Yes. I don't know if I may share here on my personal experience that sometimes if one, by whatever the reason, one visits some restaurant And even if it's a purely veg restaurant, but no one can really know how they actually cook everything, and what is the mentality of the cook himself. So my personal experience is that this has a major effect on the consciousness and on the cleanliness. So better be very careful with all our edibles and simply stick to Krishna Prasad.
Yeah.
Anything else anyone else likes to ask here, as you have the opportunity?
I could ask something.
Please go ahead.
Yeah,
Hare
maybe
Krishna.
first about Hare Krishna. Thank you for this. It's very interesting, this course. I hope it will get, we'll be much more enlightened after 100
Hare
hours.
Yeah.
But
Hare Krishna.
yeah, about this cleanliness. Just yesterday we had a session on Bhagavad Gita as well, and we were talking about how this chanting, of course, I think many of us in the group already are chanting, but this, of course, that's the internal cleanliness that we are talking about, this chanting of the holy name. But also that we have to understand why it would be so important to chant while we are doing this course, is that it's actually Krishna gives us the knowledge to understand this. It's not that we, with our own intelligence, will understand what is said here. So that's maybe what's its most important thing to do here is to chant while doing this course, if you want the full benefit. Otherwise, you maybe just learn it by heart, all this information, but it doesn't really change you or change your consciousness.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to say a few words more about this.
Actually, there is a very good in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Sikshtastakam is a Cheto Darpana Marjan Bahamaha Davagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kaira Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrta Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So it is a burning fire which burns all our past kalmasha. So it burns all our. Actually, it is a net. We can say the bad habits are there. It is available like this. And when we say I'm going to take for last time, I'm just doing this. There is a binding happens. So this binding we don't know. We don't know this, and it is Cheto Darpana Marjan. It requires the one is Jnananjana Shalakya. It has to be cut by knife, sword of knowledge, and other one is Nama. So, but the first thing that we need to do is hear. So, hearing happens in two ways. One is Nama, and then why Nama? Why we should chant name? Because it is purifying, we have to chant, and then we chant, it purifies further. So that realization comes, and that is what Krishna is telling in chapter 9. Ashraddha Dana Purusha Dharmasya se Parantapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avya. Rajavidya, this is a king of knowledge. Which is king of knowledge? To chant the holy names of Lord. Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam. It is a secret, because we need to do that. And to do that, we require the belief. Ashraddha Dana. Ashraddha means no faith. So, Shraddha is required. Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam, Pavitram. It is the purest of all. Idamuttama. It is best of all. Idamuttam. Pratyakshaavagamam. Pratyaksha means when you start doing it, you will realize it. You don't need any other proof of it. When you eat a pudding, when you eat a rasgulla, when you eat it, you know that it's very nice, very tasty. I don't have to give a description. So, Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam, it is the principle of religion. There is no exact translation for Dharma in English, but it is a religion. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshavagam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyayam. You will not get bogged down when you do this. You will feel it very joyful. Susukam Kartum Avyayam. And it is, Avyayam means inexhaustible. Prabhupada gives the meaning inexhaustible. So these are Shastrik, directly Shastrik Pramanas. And it's very interesting. You need to read Bhagavad Gita chapter 9. So first three shlokas, Krishna is telling how knowledge of Krishna purifies us. Ashraddha dana purusha dharma sesya parantapa aprapya mam nivartanti mrityu samsara vartamani rajavidya rajaguhyam pavitram idamuttamam pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam susukam kartam avyayam. I forgot the third shloka. So these three shlokas, one of the first, second, and third in 9th chapter, are very, let us just go to that. Just go to that. It's very nice.
Yes.
Most confidential knowledge. Idam tute guhyatam pradakshami anushyave jnana vijnana sahitam yajnatva mokshese subhat. Then Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamatam Pratyaksha Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyayam. Then we have, it's a very long purport, it's very interesting shloka. Ashraddha Dana Purusha Dharma Sesya Parantapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartamani. We need to have faith. If we don't have faith, we will not get. So when you chant, you get faith, and then you feel, yeah, it's happening nicely. Then we do it again. So that is how it goes. So Bhagavad Gita is something which we need to follow, Mataji.
Yes. Maybe one more about from the text 1, chapter 1. This, if you want to explain more about the words, only the words Dharma Kshetra and Kurukshetra.
We should do it next week. We should do that next week, Mataji.
Okay.
Because I have not gone through that purport. I want to do this. We should dwell on this one in our next class.
Okay.
So Prabhupada's interpretation is something which we need to understand here.
Yes.
So let us try our very best and take to heart what Prabhuji has given us here, and keep in mind the little homework, as if there is something more concise than the 700 shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita, that would be Srila Prabhupada's introduction to the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So not much more than 20 pages. I'm sure that then every one of us can within this upcoming week do this little homework.
Yeah, you can actually see this library here, and I see that should be this. I think it is available here. So you can read this. It's very nice.
It's not too long. In pages, it numbers somewhere around 20, 26 pages, 26, 20, 27, something like that. So not too much, and absolutely it would be worthwhile. Even if one goes through it 100 times, there's still always some new insight is flowing from that. So let us all do that, to read it. Okay, Prabhuji, thank you very much for such an enthusiastic starter for our studies, and we keep it up, and hopefully we will be able to maintain the same time slot on a weekly basis.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.